Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for your indulgence as we start just a few minutes late this morning. My name is Greg Mays, and I am the Director of the Tennessee Office of Homeland Security. On behalf of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, I would like to welcome you to today's 3 Stars of Tennessee Award and First Responder Recognition Ceremony. We are approaching the 21st anniversary of the attacks of September 11th, 2001, and again, we thank you for joining us here today. At this time, I would like our attendees to please silence your cell phones. This ceremony is being videotaped and live streamed on the Department of Safety and Homeland Security's Facebook page. Photographs are being taken and will be made available to all attendees, and additional photographs there'll be an opportunity for photographs at the conclusion of the ceremony up here on stage. So at this time, I would ask that you would please stand for the presentation of the colors presented by the Tennessee Highway Patrol Honor Guard. Advance the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Retire the colors. Thank you. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome everyone today, particularly our honorees and all of our guests. I'd also like to thank the Hermitage Hills Baptist Church for allowing us to use this wonderful facility. Today we're going to have 2 ceremonies. The first one is the 3 Stars of Tennessee, which will recognize Tennesseans who have lost their lives or suffer career-ending injuries in the line of duty. And the second ceremony will honor public safety officials that are nominated by their Homeland Security districts or their state agencies who represent the outstanding law enforcement and first responder personnel who work tirelessly to keep Tennessee safe. There are way too many special guests in attendance today to recognize them individually. However, we have elected officials, public safety leaders, and most importantly, we have family members here in the audience. We thank each of you for attending. I would like to introduce you to our leaders who are seated in the front of the room. We have Governor Bill Lee, Senator Becky Massey, and Commissioner Jeff Long. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Commissioner Long. Jeff Long is the Commissioner of the Department of Safety and Homeland Security, and he is the Homeland Security Advisor to the Governor of Tennessee. Prior to being appointed commissioner, Jeff Long was elected sheriff of Williamson County in August of 2008. He is a graduate of the University of Memphis with a bachelor's degree in political science. He also received a doctorate of jurisprudence degree from the Nashville School of Law. He served in the criminal justice field for over 48 years. He's been an an assistant district attorney, a special agent in charge with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, an investigator with the Fire Marshal's Office, a captain in the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, a federal hospital police officer. He's pretty much done everything you can do in law enforcement. He's received numerous awards, including a commendation from FBI Director Sessions, and he was voted the 2013 Tennessee Sheriff of the Year. Please welcome Commissioner Jeff Long.
Thank you, Greg, and good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here this morning for this special occasion. We look forward to this, unfortunately, every year. Wish we didn't have to do the recognitions, but we certainly want to give the proper recognition every year for the first responders. It's my honor this morning to get to introduce our two speakers for the day. And this three-star ceremony is the result of Senator Becky Massey. Senator Massey has family who are all in law enforcement, and during that time noticed that I believe it was Texas that had started a ceremony to recognize their first responders. And based off of that, she passed a bill in the state legislature to establish this so we can have this annually in order to properly recognize the attendees for this. So it's my pleasure at this time to introduce Chairman Senator Becky Massey.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Governor, for being here with us today. This really is an honor to be here with these families that have sacrificed so much. This is the 9th year that we have awarded the 3 Stars of Tennessee, and I do pray every year we have nobody to give it to. But unfortunately, that's not the way life goes sometimes. So, but I wanted to give you, the Commissioner alluded a little bit, but I was actually visiting my daughter and granddaughter in Texas back in 13, I guess, around 9/11, and I went to a church service, and they go, now, Governor Perry was here this week presenting the Star of Texas. And as any good person, I Googled it and saw that it was a little different than what we ended up with, but a very similar thing. And I came back and I visited with my friends in law enforcement and firefighters and folks, and I sat down with the folks at Homeland Security, and they go, well, we do these awards of merit near 9/11, but this would just make this more special, and we need to do it. Usually when you pass a bill in the legislature, you have maybe a couple of co-sponsors. I want you to know that the members of the Tennessee General Assembly in 14 realize the significance of this, and that every single member of the General Assembly signed on as a co-sponsor. And I think that just shows how much they recognize the importance of setting up something like this and to make it special. And so we actually worked real hard to get everything in place to do it that first 9/11, during that first ceremony. And it just really is, we wanted to make sure that we gave these folks that gave their lives to Tennessee the highest honor that we could possibly give them. So, I tell people, Texas has 1 star, we have 3. Texas wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Tennessee, so it's okay if we borrow a little something back from Texas. But actually, a few years ago, this award came really close to home for me and my family, because my great-nephew, who was at the time a K-9 officer with Knox County Sheriff's Office, was involved in a shootout along with our THP members in Knoxville, our Highway Patrol members, in a shootout on I-40 with some gang members from MS-13. and there were bullets going into his cruiser and everything. And of course, they tell him, and most of you law enforcement know this, that if you stay in the vehicle, it's considered a coffin. But they got out, and thankfully, none of our THP or our law enforcement there that day were injured. But it just really brought extra things close to my family, because how close that could have been. But thankfully, none of the members were hurt. Roger, Greg, CJ, Bridget, Christopher, Dale, Alex, Terry, Vince, Edgar, Lakeisha, Matthew, Daryl, and Willie. How do I describe these folks? Courageous, strong, trustworthy, servant, protector, hardworking. They are America's finest: negotiator, enforcer, selfless, and dedicated. But the one word that best fits this is hero. These are dangerous professions that, with many uncertainties. These men and women who serve the citizens of Tennessee train for countless hours for situations that the average person may never encounter in their lifetime. They each hold their oath, and they each had held their oath in a high regard. Every day in Tennessee, brave men and women put on the uniforms and report to duty with us, all with the knowledge that they may pay the ultimate price to keep the community safe. I know one of the families, when I met with before the ceremony, told me that their son had told a friend, "Don't worry about tomorrow, because you only have today to live." And that ended up being his last day. And it's just amazing. But it takes a very, very special person to risk so much for so many who care so little. But let me promise you right now, Tennesseans as a whole care and appreciate what these men and women do to protect us and did to protect us. In Tennessee, we stand for those who stand for us. Today, we are honoring the sacrifices made by these men and women, these Tennessee heroes. No words can adequately express our gratitude, our admiration for these brave men and women who dedicated their lives to selflessly serving others. The 3 Stars of Tennessee is just a small token of appreciation and our condolences. We will never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Massey. Now it's my opportunity, too, to introduce our keynote speaker, who has been at all of these ceremonies since he's been the governor of Tennessee. I think it's very important that I also tell you that this means so much to him that he's already made a trip to Memphis this morning and returned in time to make sure that he was here present for the ceremony today. It's my honor to now introduce to you the governor of the state of Tennessee, Bill Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. He's right. I do place a lot of importance on being here because there are few moments in my job that are as important as honoring and remembering those who have made it possible for the rest of us to live the lives that we live in this state and in this country. To the family members, nothing we do today can make up for the losses that, or the grief and the sorrow that you have suffered. But what we hope we can do today is bring honor and elevate the service and the sacrifice that not only you have made, but your loved ones made on behalf of the citizens of this state. There is nothing that is more valuable to me than to honor those who have created an environment for the people in this state. Those in law enforcement are the line between chaos and security. And we live in a country that, while some may dispute it at times, is built on the concept and the idea of public safety and security for its citizens. And the men and women that we honor today have been a part of that fabric of that security that's so important to this country. So we are grateful. We're grateful to you. We honor today to those to whom honor is due. We will celebrate those who have gone above and beyond in their service to our community. And we are grateful that for everyone that's here. And I will tell you too, as I survey the room, there are a lot of folks here besides family members who are members of the judiciary, members of the executive branch, people in our cabinet, members of the General Assembly. Senator Massey is really ultimately responsible for this award, but there's a broad recognition in this state. I spoke with some law enforcement officials just yesterday who have moved to Tennessee, and I talked to them at length about why they were here, why they decided to move their families from the places where they were to come to our state. There's a deep-seated respect for and appreciation for you, those of you who are first responders, who are firefighters, who are law enforcement. There's a deep respect for you and what you do and the role that you play and the importance in our society. There's a respect among leaders all across this state. So thank you all for coming to honor and to support and to remind these families that the losses that they have endured, the grief that they continue to walk through today, that only the Lord can bring healing to. But those experiences that they have not only will be honored by us, but that it will propel us to move forward in ways that change the way that we provide safety and security and service to all of Tennesseans. It is a story of redemption when we take loss and sacrifice and we turn it into good for the people. And that my prayer is that not one life is lost to that process of redemption in this state. And we're grateful for you all, especially for your family members. Thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of honoring those who we've lost and of honoring those who have gone above and beyond. Thank you.
At this time, Governor Lee, Senator Massey, and Commissioner Long will present the 3 Stars of Tennessee Awards. And again, as a reminder, we will have an opportunity for photographs with award recipients after the presentations or at the conclusion of the ceremony. Roger Estes from the South Claiborne Volunteer Fire Department. Volunteer firefighter Roger Estes was tragically killed while directing traffic on a July 4th event in Tazewell, Tennessee. He served the South Claiborne Volunteer Fire Department for 15 years. Prior to moving to East Tennessee, he served in the U.S. Navy and worked as a full-time firefighter in New Hampshire. Roger dedicated his life to serving others. He shared his experience with other volunteers at the South Claiborne Volunteer Fire Department, and he was known to continually go above and beyond to ensure the safety of the South Claiborne citizens. Receiving the award on behalf of volunteer firefighter Estes is his wife, Rita Estes. Sergeant Christopher Jenkins from the Loudoun County Sheriff's Department. On February 3rd, 2022, Sergeant Jenkins conducted a rolling roadblock on I-75 to remove a ladder that was obstructing the roadway. As he was exiting his patrol vehicle to remove the ladder, a tractor-trailer failed to yield and fatally struck him. Sergeant Jenkins served in the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office for 20 years, working his way from a corrections officer to patrol to a canine handler. He earned Patrol Supervisor of the Year in 2017 and was promoted to Sergeant in 2019. Those closest to him said Sergeant Jenkins never knew a stranger. Sergeant Jenkins was known for his contagious smile and his wonderful sense of humor. Receiving the award on behalf of Sergeant Christopher Jenkins are his children, Clay and Chloe. Master Trooper Vince Mullins from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. Master Trooper Vince Mullins contracted COVID-19 while serving at the Greene County Scales Complex and succumbed to the illness on January 28th of 2022. He served the Tennessee Highway Patrol for almost 25 years, where he was certified in many different areas of commercial vehicle enforcement. Trooper Mullins led the Greene County Scales in the highest number of inspections, out-of-service trucks, and drivers. He had a strong desire to remove the impaired drivers from the Tennessee roadways and to rid our communities of illegal drugs. Receiving the award on behalf of Master Trooper Vince Mullins is his wife, Shelley Mullins. Deputy Matthew Stephen Locke from the Hardin County Sheriff's Department. On September 25th, 2021, Deputy Locke responded to an assist as a backup on a domestic call. The suspect, armed with multiple weapons, had assaulted and fired a gun at his wife. The suspect continued to be combative while the two deputies were attempting to negotiate with him. Upon arrival, Deputy Locke exited his patrol car and was attempting to move into a location when the suspect shot him. The two deputies on scene tried life-saving measures, but Deputy Locke succumbed to his injuries. Deputy Locke was described as a man that always exceeded the standard on everything he did, and he was continually challenging himself to improve. Those closest to Deputy Locke said he had a positive outlook on life and wanted to spread that positivity to those around him. Receiving the award on behalf of Deputy Stephen Locke is his daughter, Riley Locke. Officer Greg Triplett from the Waverly Police Department. Officer Triplett contracted COVID-19 while assisting the victims of a devastating flood in Waverly, Tennessee, and succumbed to the illness on September 26, 2021. During the Waverly flooding, he went door to door in various neighborhoods evacuating people as the waters rose. And although his own home was flooded and destroyed, he continued to respond to calls for help. He diligently worked in the following weeks to help his community recover from the disaster. He was beloved by the people he protected, and his participation in the flood response and recovery was another example of his commitment to serve others. Receiving the award on behalf of Officer Greg Triplett is his wife, Laura Triplett. Deputy Dale Wyman from the Hardeman County Sheriff's Office. On August 10th, 2012, Deputy Dale Wyman was responding to a motor vehicle crash. While in transit, he attempted to avoid a collision, but his patrol car spun out of control and landed on its side in a ditch. He was airlifted to a regional medical center, but because of the crash, he was paralyzed from the chest down. Since the 2012 vehicle crash, he struggled with numerous medical complications, and on August 6, 2021, he succumbed to those injuries. Deputy Wyman had been with the Hardeman County Sheriff's Office for 2 years and had served in the United States Army prior to joining the Sheriff's Office. Receiving the award on behalf of Deputy Dale Wyman is his wife, Anita Wyman. Officer Edgar Albert Morris III from the Collierville, Tennessee Police Department. Officer Morris contracted COVID-19 and succumbed to the illness on September 4th, 2021. He had been with the Collierville Police Department for almost 17 years. He specialized in traffic crash reconstruction and served as the department's radar instructor. He was quick to provide help to anyone in need, and he carried out his duties with honor, integrity, and compassion. Receiving the award on behalf of Officer Edgar Morris is his wife, Christy Morris. Officer Darrell D. Adams from the Memphis Police Department. On October 2nd, 2021, Officer Adams was investigating a crash on the side of I-40 when he was struck and killed by an 18-wheeler. Officer Adams served as a Memphis police officer for over 5 years. During this time with the department, he was nominated and selected as Officer of the Month multiple times by his shift supervisors because of his reliability and his willingness to step up and pitch in whenever needed. He made the extra effort to support the community by networking with citizens and with local businesses and addressing any issues they had. Receiving the award on behalf of Officer Darrell Adams is his wife, Cherish Adams. Officer Kirill C.J. Cortez Jones from the Memphis Police Department. On January 20th, 2022, Officer C.J. Jones was en route to provide backup to his partner when his squad car was struck by another vehicle. Officer Jones died as a result of the crash. He served the City of Memphis Police Department for almost 2 years. He was known for his warm smile, friendly personality, and his dedication to service. CJ had a heart for building strong, trusting relationships in the neighborhoods and the communities he served, and on occasion, he would even take a moment to play basketball with the children in the area. Officer Jones was highly motivated, had an eagerness to learn, and his attention to detail was that of a veteran officer. He will be remembered for his valor, his bravery, his professionalism, and his amicable demeanor. Receiving the award on behalf of Officer C.J. Jones is his mother, Sharon Jones. Officer Jimmy Alex Schindler from the Memphis Police Department. Officer Jimmy Alex Schindler contracted COVID-19 while at work and succumbed to the illness on September 20th, 2021. He served the Memphis Police Department for 12 years. His coworkers said that he came to work every day to serve the citizens of Memphis and did so with a pleasant disposition and a smile on his face. Receiving the award on behalf of Officer Schindler is his wife, Beth Schindler. Corrections Officer Lakeisha Tucker from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Corrections Officer Lakeisha Tucker contracted COVID-19 while working at the Shelby County Jail and succumbed to the illness on August 25th of 2021. Officer Tucker served with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office for over 16 years. Her coworkers shared that Lakeisha always watched out for them and promoted unity and togetherness. She loved to read and spend quality time with her loving family and friends. Her biggest aspiration was to return to college to finish her nursing education. She had been accepted into the nursing program at Christian Brothers University for the spring 2022 semester. Receiving the award on behalf of Corrections Officer Lakeisha Tucker is Alveda Brown Tucker from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Corrections Deputy Willie Lois Dortch from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Corrections Deputy Willie Lois Dortch contracted COVID-19 while working at the Shelby County Jail and succumbed to the illness on April 9th, 2021. Deputy Dortch had been with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office for 24 years. Her co-workers said she had a beautiful smile and was a pleasure to work with. Receiving the award on behalf of Corrections Deputy Willie Dortch is Tora Newton from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Corrections Deputy Bridget Lachelle Hunter from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Corrections Deputy Bridget Lachelle Hunter contracted COVID-19 while working at the Shelby County Jail and succumbed to the illness on February 17, 2022. Deputy Hunter served with the Shelby County Sheriff's Office for over 30 years and was dedicated to her job. She loved her family more than anything. She enjoyed spending time with her grandkids and watching them grow, which brought her the most joy. When she wasn't with her grandkids, she loved to hang out with her sisters, to shop, and to try new restaurants. She is remembered by her bravery, her transparency, and her caring and charismatic soul. Receiving the award on behalf of Corrections Deputy Bridget Hunter is her daughter, Brittany Hunter. Lieutenant Terry Watts from the Shelby County Fire Department. Lieutenant Terry Watts contracted COVID-19 and succumbed to the illness on February 10, 2021. He had served the Shelby County Fire Department for over 15 years in the training division. He had a passion to train firefighters. Known to be incredibly compassionate to everyone he met, he taught others how to smile, laugh, endure, and to more importantly, how to learn. He leaves a legacy for the intense and professional development and training of the many firefighters who will carry his memory with them. Receiving the award on behalf of Lieutenant Terry Watts is his wife, Gwenice Watts. Thank you to all of our 3-Star of Tennessee honorees and their families. We will now transition to the second of today's 2 ceremonies, where we will honor our 2022 first responders who were nominated by their Homeland Security District or their state agency. From Homeland Security District 2, Master Firefighter Justin Engel from the Knoxville Fire Department. He's being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation today for exceptional support to Homeland Security District 2 for actions taken on August 30th, 2021. Heavy rainfall hit the West Knoxville area and multiple emergency calls were made to the Knoxville Fire Department for assistance. The department was dispatched to a vehicle trapped in fast-moving floodwaters on Paper Mill Drive. Battalion 3 and Engine 18 arrived on scene to find that the water level was more than 2 feet above the roadway and moving rapidly, but they were unable to locate a vehicle in the flooding. They continued to search the scene and heard a scream coming from a wooded area downstream. The crew immediately began moving in the direction of the scream, and Master Firefighter Engel was the first to cut his way through the thick brush and locate the victim. The exhausted victim was barely hanging onto a small tree in the middle of swift water. Without hesitation, Engel secured a rope to a tree and jumped into the water to save the victim. The other firefighters assisted in pulling the victim and Engel to the water's edge. After being rescued, the victim said that she almost let go of the tree, but when she saw the lights from the fire trucks, she started to scream for help again. Master Firefighter Engel's immediate and heroic actions saved the woman's life. Unfortunately, Master Firefighter Engel is unable to attend today, but his father, Stanley Engel, is here and is accepting on his behalf. Dispatchers Sandra Courtney and Amanda Johnston from the Loudoun County E911 are being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for their exceptional support in handling a crisis on February 3rd of 2022. Loudoun County E911 had received a call of a traffic hazard of a ladder on the interstate, and due to multiple vehicles hitting the ladder and traffic backing up, several calls were made to the center. Sergeant Christopher Jenkins, who we have honored today, responded and said he would remove the ladder. And several minutes later, the center began getting numerous frantic calls reporting an officer had been hit on the interstate. Sandra and Amanda fielded those calls and gathered that Sergeant Jenkins had been struck while attempting to remove the ladder. They immediately dispatched help to him, and numerous callers described what had happened. As numerous callers described what had happened, Sandra and Amanda attempted to provide the callers with pre-arrival instructions and how to render aid. Tragically, Sergeant Jenkins succumbed to his injuries, and Sandra and Amanda continued to update other officers and responders on the situation to provide comfort to the callers, as well as answering unrelated 911 calls during this tragedy. They continue to do so diligently despite their longtime friend and colleague having perished. Sandra Courtney and Amanda Johnston. Danny Hetty from the Putnam County EMS is being presented Governor's Certificate of Award for his exceptional service to Homeland Security District 4. Major Hetty has served in emergency medical service for 42 years, and 39 of those years have been in Putnam County's EMS. He started as an emergency medical technician and worked his way to paramedic, shift supervisor, and the major in charge of logistics. As a shift supervisor, he was known to be a fair and sensible boss, and many of his former employees said he was the best they've ever worked for. When he was promoted to major, his responsibilities included equipment, supplies, and management. And over the past several years, he has been procuring equipment and supplies. It has been a particular challenge with the supply chain issues, but Danny has persevered, never complaining, and always done his best, providing outstanding service to the Putnam County EMS. Danny Hetty from the Putnam County EMS. Michael Thornhill from the Tennessee Army National Guard is being presented a governor's certificate of appreciation for his exceptional support to District 5. CW4 Thornhill has been instrumental in working with the Tennessee Highway Patrol and the Nashville Fire Department in the creation of a Tennessee Helicopter Aquatic Rescue Team. On July 28, 2022, CW4 Thornhill, along with his co-pilot and crew, were joined by 3 members of the Nashville Fire Department in a deployment to Hazard, Kentucky in response to severe flash flooding. CW4 Thornhill and his team were airborne to Kentucky within 30 minutes of getting the call. They flew to the affected area and began hoist operations immediately. CW4 Thornhill and his team made numerous rescues with steady hands and nerves of steel over a 3-day span, making a major impact on several lives in a relatively short period of time. Unfortunately, CW4 Thornhill was unable to attend, but his wife, Morgan Thornhill, is here and accepting on his behalf. Cody Evans from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for his exceptional support to Homeland Security District 7. On July 18, 2021, Deputy Evans was involved in a severe accident where he was struck by a vehicle while outside his patrol car assisting with a traffic problem. He endured several months of physical therapy as well as emotional trauma after being involved in such a traumatic event, but he was able to return to full active duty with the Sheriff's Office. Since then, Deputy Evans has continued to serve his county above and beyond. On May 2, 2022, Deputy Evans assisted other deputies by rescuing 2 children in a house fire. Additionally, on May 30, 2022, Deputy Evans rescued an unresponsive man from the crawl space of his house. Deputy Evans shows that he will do whatever is necessary to help the citizens in Montgomery County. Cody Evans from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Hunter Allen Taylor from the Madison County Sheriff's Office is being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for exceptional support to Homeland Security District 11 for a shooting that occurred on February 13, 2022. Deputy Taylor responded to a call of multiple shots being fired. Upon arrival, he found 3 victims that had all been shot in the back. Deputy Taylor utilized his training and experience by administering first aid to the victims and keeping them alive until EMS arrived on the scene. All 3 victims were airlifted to the hospital, and Deputy Taylor's immediate response to address the victims' wounds likely saved their lives. Deputy Taylor from the Madison County Sheriff's Office. In this next award, we're doing something a little unusual in that we're honoring an entire police department and an entire fire department for what was a very unusual event. The Collierville Police Department and the Collierville Fire Department are being presented Governor's Certificates of Appreciation for exceptional support during a mass shooting that occurred at the Kroger store in Collierville, Tennessee on September 23rd, 2021. 1 person was killed and 13 were injured before the gunman committed suicide. The Collierville police made entry without hesitation to locate and apprehend the suspect, while the Collierville Fire Department triaged victims, which undoubtedly saved many lives. The first police officers that arrived on the scene began clearing the store, searching aisle by aisle for the assailant. They discovered him at the back of the store, deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The outstanding work by the members of the police department and the fire department saved countless lives during this event. And for the immediate professional response of so many members of a police and fire department, the entire departments are being honored. Accepting on behalf of the Collierville Police Department is Chief of Police Dale Lane and Assistant Chief Jeff Ablin. And accepting for the fire department is Captain Joe Casey and firefighter and paramedic Forrest Griffin. Russell Smith and William Bruce from the Tennessee Highway Patrol are being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for their exceptional actions taken on March 30th, 2022. On that day, a wildfire developed in Sevier County's Weirs Valley community. Lieutenant Russell Smith responded and was instrumental in the interagency collaboration of response planning, scheduling, and the deployment of THP strike team assets during that first 24-hour period. Lieutenant Smith then assumed command of the THP operations, and in the following days, Lieutenant Bruce responded to take over the command through the follow-on shifts. They both provided strong leadership that was vital to the interagency collaboration and response planning, scheduling, and the deployment of strike team assets. Both Lieutenant Smith and Bruce were significant in assisting with combating the fires, and their combined efforts aided in evacuating citizens to safety. And unfortunately, Lieutenant Smith is unable to attend today, so Lieutenant Bruce, who is here, will accept his award and that award of Lieutenant Smith. Aaron Ranker from the Tennessee Highway Patrol is being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for his exceptional actions taken on December 7th, 2021. Trooper Ranker was dispatched to a medical call on I-40 in Dixon County. When he arrived on the scene, he was presented with a young woman in labor. Given the remote area and the ambulance being so far away, Trooper Ranker gathered what he had available to him to prepare for the delivery of a child. Prior to working for THP, Trooper Ranker was an advanced emergency medical technician and had served on an ambulance for a number of years. Because of Trooper Ranker's previous medical training, a baby boy was safely delivered. And soon afterward, the ambulance arrived and transported the baby and the mother to the hospital, where they were both determined to be healthy. Trooper Aaron Ranker. Special Agents Jonathan McGowan and James Scarborough from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation are being presented a Governor's Certificate of Appreciation for their actions taken in the investigation of Deputy Savannah Puckett's death. On January 23, 2022, TBI was contacted by the Robertson County Sheriff's Office requesting agents to respond and conduct a death investigation of Deputy Savannah Puckett. Deputy Puckett was found deceased by her fellow shift deputies in her burning home with multiple gunshot wounds. The responsibility of investigating this terrible crime was placed on TBI Special Agent Jonathan McGowan and Special Agent Jim Scarborough. The pressure that comes with an investigation such as this would be obvious from the point of arrival on the scene, but both S.A. McGowan and Scarborough were selected to investigate this based on their experience in investigations previously and in successfully prosecuting high-profile cases. Both agents accepted the case without reservation and spent countless hours working to ensure that Deputy Puckett's family, friends, and fellow law enforcement officers would be given the justice they deserved. Within 48 hours of the crime, agents were able to arrest and begin the prosecution process of the alleged individual responsible. Special Agents McGowan and Scarborough. Please recognize all of our distinguished honorees for their selfless service to Tennessee. I'd like to thank all of you who joined us here today and all of you who are joining us online via our department's Facebook page. I'd once again like to thank the Hermitage Hills Baptist Church for making this wonderful venue available to us. I also want to thank the local Chick-fil-A who offered some refreshments for the families, for the 3-star families prior to the event. And from my office, I'd also like to recognize Christiana Dunn in the back, who does a tremendous amount of work to make this event run smoothly. This concludes the 2022 3 Stars of Tennessee Award and First Responder Recognition Ceremony. I would remind you that if you'd like to have some photographs taken, please feel free to come up and we'll make that available to you. Thank you very much for being here.